All right, today we're going to run through how to take your goal for real estate and figure out what you need to do every single day. So I'm going to set up my screen share here and we will get that rolling in just a second. So it's going to be important to not only think about what it is that you want to do in real estate and how you want to, how much money you want to make, and then we'll figure out what you need to do to get there. So my first question to you would be, over the next year, what do you want your real estate income to help you do or afford in your life? Um, it may be a chance to pause this and think about this for a second. Maybe you know the answer right away. Is this something where this is going to fund everything you do in life? This is your main source of income. You need this to pay your mortgage. You need this to buy groceries, go on vacation. Or is this something where maybe you're dual career? You want to start to, get started in real estate and you want this to pay off debt, or you want this to fund vacations. Or maybe the goal would be to leave your your other career and to make real estate your full-time gig. What is it that you want real estate to do for your life? And then the question is, how much money will that take? So if this is, your, life expenses, what is all of that together? If this is, you want to make $10,000 this year just to have some extra cash, maybe that's the answer because it's, that's going to be your vacation fund. Maybe you have $50,000 in debt that you're paying off, whatever that is. Think about how much money it will take for you to hit that goal that you just thought of. It's important to be really specific about that because we're going to use that number to work backwards from your financial goal to determine your business goal. So come with me as we do that. So the thing that we're going to think of is your net income goal. So if the number that we hear oftentimes in real estate is $100,000, people want to make $100,000 a year in real estate. That's their big goal. So that's what I'm going to use for an example throughout this exercise. But whatever your number is, that should be the number that you're using. So that number, that's going to, whatever it is that you wanted to do in real estate, that whatever it is you want your real estate money to help you afford, and that number, that's your net income goal. Net meaning after expenses, after everything else. So we're going to take that number and we're going to add in your cost of sales. At Keller Williams, we have a cap and a royalty. So your company dollar, your royalty, add those together, $27,000. If you're on a team, you'd use usually $11,000. And that's going to be your net income before your expenses. So 100,000, and for our example, plus 27,000 for a solo agent, $127,000. And then what we're going to do is we're going to think that, hey, there is a cost to being in real estate. We're going to use an estimated 30% expenses. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take that $127,000 from from our last number, and we're going to divide it by 0.7. So that way we're going to know what our gross commission income is that we will need. If you're on a team, maybe you skip this step if your team covers all of your expenses. But I also want you to think about, are you still paying for your monthly office bill? Is there still some expense for you for being in real estate? If you're a solo agent, use that 30%. It's going to give you a good ballpark. So 100,000 to 127,000, and that takes us up, adding in our expenses, to $181,000. And then we're going to divide that by average commission per transaction. I'm going to use an estimate of $10,000, knowing that, maybe the average sale price right now in the Milwaukee metro area is around $350,000. So let's just estimate $10,000 commission. So we're going to take the number from the last slide, the $181,428, or whatever your number is, and divide it by $10,000. That's going to give us the number of transactions that you need to hit your goal. So to make $100,000 in real estate after expenses, it's going to take 18.14 closings. But we're going to go a little further because it's good to have that number in mind. My goal is 18 units. That's awesome. And now I want to have that number help us figure out what we need to do every day. How am I going to get to that 18? I'm going to have those closings. Where am I going to meet people? How many people do I need to talk to? And so we're going to take that 18.14, but we'll just say 18, and we're going to multiply it by 100. 100 two-way real estate contacts. That's going to be our ballpark number to use for how many conversations that we need to have to equal one real estate transaction. And that's just not, me sending a text and not getting a response back, but that's two-way back and forth conversations. So that's going to be how many contacts I need to hit my goal. So 18 units times 100 contacts, two-way conversations, 1,800. That's a huge number. But I don't want to think about it that way. I want to think about what am I doing in the week. And so for me, the other question would be, am I making $100,000 for the rest of this year, or am I making $100,000 throughout the next 12 months? Right now it's May and we have about 32 weeks left in the year, or I could use a full year, 52 weeks. So I'm going to take that 1,800, my number of contacts for a year or my time period, and divide it by how many weeks I'm going to be using this goal for. Most people think in the next 12 months, I want to make that much money. So I'm going to take 1,800 divided by 52 is 35 contacts per week to hit my goal of 18 units over a full year. So to sum it up, to make $100,000 in real estate in one year, I would just need to make 35 two-way contacts, real estate conversations per week. It's that simple. And then I can take that number and think about how am I going to talk to those 5 people per day so that I can hit my goal. So am I going to do open houses? Am I going to be calling my database on a regular basis using the DTD2 call schedule? And am I going to be sending messages to people in my social media? And am I going to be making videos and hope that people reach out to me? Am I going to do some networking? What am I going to do to have those two-way real estate conversations, door knocking, whatever it is I'm going to do. So we can build a goal based off of that, knowing that if I have those contacts, I will hit my goal. So hopefully this was helpful, thinking about how much money do you want to make into what activity you need to do in the day-to-day. Thanks for joining me.